Welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap with your host, me. I am Colleen Biggs, and I am so happy to be here today. I did a Nidra meditation this morning that was given to me from a good friend of mine, Roberta Hughes, and it is supposed to make you feel like you slept 2 hours in a 20-minute meditation. And so what I loved about this meditation is I could just lay on my back, and it's a guided meditation. And I felt so good. My husband said, "Did you feel like you slept 2 hours?" I said, "Well, I don't know, because I had just woken up and I did it like an hour later." So I had just slept all night. So I don't really know, if I felt that way, but I'll tell you this, I felt grateful. I was smiling. I felt good because it talks a lot about gratitude. So, and I'm reading a book that's about gratitude as well. I highly recommend all of you start your day with gratitude. It will change your outlook on the people you surround yourself with, on the outcomes of your day. You will see them through the lens of gratitude. So I just wanted to share that little bit with you today. And we're going to be diving into everything websites and SEO today, how your website is the hub of your business. And we have Lori Osborne with us, and she's with Biz Bolster Web Solutions, and is going to be sharing with us how to build the best website, how to build a website that can be seen, how to drive traffic to your website, what SEO means, how to optimize it. We're going to jump into all of that today. But before we do, I want to thank our sponsor of today's show, The Adventures of Julie Jones. Are you overwhelmed and overworked with a never-ending to-do list? Do you constantly feel tired because life seems hard and your needs are nowhere near the top of your priority list? As an adventure and breakthrough coach, Julie Jones will support you in life that is easy, effortless, and most of all, fun. Stop spending time on the have-tos in life and start truly living a life of I get to. What are you waiting for? Take action and go to www.juliejones.biz and book a free 30-minute live out loud call with Julie Jones. It will be the best 30 minutes of your life, and I guarantee you it will. She is in my circle and is my friend for a reason, and that is because she is one of those people that bring a ton of fun to my life. And I have had a happier life since I've added her to that circle. We talk a lot about your network is your net worth. I say this probably every week and every episode. Surround yourself with people that support you and not drain you. This is why I support and surround myself with Lori Osborne. She is in the LEAP community. She has been part of my programs that I've ran. I met her at a networking event and immediately just was really attracted to her in her approach on how she builds websites that are able to easily be maneuvered and updated by the actual business. And so I say that lightly, and we're going to jump into it with her in a minute. But that was really what attracted me to Lori was, website and technology is something that I struggle a little bit with on figuring it out. I can do it, but it takes me a long time to figure it out. And she makes it easy for her clients to be able to make those easy adjustments on their website. So she's the founder and chief solution architect for Biz Bolster Web Solutions. She specializes in digital marketing for small businesses, including custom website development, reputation management, very important, by the way, sales funnels, and SEO services. Lori has 30 plus years small business and information technology experience and has been a small business owner for 15 plus years. And she lives in the beautiful state of Florida. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
And so happy Julie is sponsoring. That is so awesome.
Yeah. So perfect, right? Because some people look at technology like, whoa, that's really heavy. And then I talk about, Julie and how fun it is to have fun. But Julie even makes websites fun. So, let's talk about, how did you get into building this business for yourself, for you to be the main support for small businesses and even large businesses that you work with local? I know you have county contracts and, those in Florida. So talk to us about how you got into doing this so we can get to know you a little bit better, Lori.
Okay, sure. I know a lot of people in the community have probably heard my story, but for those of you who haven't, like Colleen said, I've been in technology forever. I used to do software testing and project management and all that fun stuff. I did all the stuff that nobody else wants to do, basically. I've always done that. And in 2015, I was in a really high stress project management job and found out I had a meningioma brain tumor, which is, they're usually benign. Mine was benign, but it sits like right on my pituitary. It was causing my hormones to go crazy. It was causing my eye to droop. And it required surgery to get it off of my optical nerve. Well, when they went in, they found it had become part of my carotid artery. So the first surgery, they nicked the carotid, caused a brain bleed, caused my left eye to go mostly blind. 5 days later, did another surgery. So I was supposed to be back to work in 2 to 4 weeks. In 4 weeks, I was barely functioning. And I started to realize I probably wasn't going back to the high stress world of information technology. I was in a lot of pain. I was finding that stress was not something I could manage well. I didn't feel like I could communicate well. So I really just started digging in and going, okay, I'm not the type to sit on my butt and do nothing. So even if I can't go back to work, what can I do to continue to use my brain and build my brain and stay functional and active? And I love technology. I mean, I just love it. So I decided to build a website, and I actually decided to build a website called Health Nut Like Grandma, because my grandmother was like a health nut in the 60s when it wasn't a thing.
Wasn't cool.
No, my mom would tell me stories about riding her bike to the health food store to get grandma health food, and would stop and get a cheeseburger because, they weren't allowed cheeseburgers, that kind of thing. But grandma and my mother died at 63 of cancer. And then shortly after, I had this tumor. So I really, the website was really just kind of letting that out and sharing those stories and kind of a tribute to grandma. And I was, planning to build on more health stuff. Well, what I got out of that was, it was great sharing the stories and everything. But what I realized was I love building websites. It just immediately, I realized this is something I should have been doing my entire career. It was something I could be creative and still use that technology side and the logical side and build something beautiful. Like I'd just never been able to do that in a job. And yeah, I dealt with websites, but it was different. And then I realized, I remember when I discovered this, I went to one of the developers I had worked with, and I had a question for him or something. And he goes, "You're not building websites. What do you think you're doing?" And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing code, but I'm building websites. And he did not feel that what I was doing had any purpose or ability to do anything whatsoever. And it did not take me long to realize that small businesses need this service. They can't hire a company to come in and free code a website. I mean, it's just not. So, and yeah, there's lots of tools out there where you can do it yourself, but not everybody knows how, wants to, has any clue where to start.
Yeah. So that's me.
What
right. No
so
clue where to start. Yeah.
That's what I discovered. We shortly thereafter moved to Florida, and I found some help for my pain, which was great, and realized I could really build this business. And that's what I've been doing the last 6 years, is just building more and more and realizing more and more what I'm capable of doing, and continuing to learn, because at the end of the day, that's what I love doing, is learning and then sharing that knowledge with other people.
You said a couple of things there that were very key, which was you realized how much you loved doing it. And women are always looking for what lights them up, And when I was working on my first website that was ever built for my company, it was a WordPress website, and the marketing company had left, and I was forced to manage the website. So if you could only imagine, I had to just, fire hose information as fast as I could. And I managed it okay enough so it looked okay. But I'll tell you this, it was all front facing information. I managed it enough where I could get an event up, where someone could register or change something on a page. That was it. So I wasn't managing the health of the website, the SC, search engine optimization of the website, the certificate, the speed, you name it, it goes on and on and on. And when I hear all of this stuff, I just start getting like this tightness in my chest, and I start feeling like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I want someone else to just handle it all for me. And the beautiful part about the way you work, Lori, is you go from template of something easy for, say, a franchise company, right? And they can just duplicate, their websites, and so they can plug and play very easily and fast, all the way to custom built websites where it's the look and the feel, it's got the amount of pages that they need, it has all their lead gens, it has events, it's got blogs, everything that they're looking for. So if you are an individual that has any product or service that you sell, you must have a business. You're a website. The website is the hub of your business. When anyone goes to find anything, they go to Google and they type in a keyword that's going to get them to exactly what they're looking for. And then they're going to thumb through the list of what shows up. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're not on Google and you're not showing up in any of the search, I'll just give a quick example. I Googled my name a long time ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I came up with one thing, like my husband had created a video and put it on YouTube of some events we had done or something. And then there was all these photos of these other Colleen Biggs. I was like, I didn't even know there was other Colleen Biggs out there, right? All this other stuff. And I didn't know who any of these ladies were, but I was looking through it and I came up like one itty bitty search. And of course, my LinkedIn came up because I put in my full name. So my LinkedIn came up. They have some of the best algorithms, and a video came up from YouTube. That was it. When I Google myself now, so I'm going to ask everyone to go Google yourself. That's probably the number one thing. When I Google myself now, there's 2 pages of me. I can't find another Colleen Biggs anywhere. Images, it's all me. And that has to do with everything that I've done, from magazine articles to podcasts on other people's podcasts, my podcast, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube videos. They all come up. All my YouTube videos come up. Names of things that I've done, magazine articles that people have done in my magazine or I've done in there. So blogs, it goes on and on and on. This is why it's so important for you to be seen in Google. And how do people do that, Lori? How does that happen? How does a company get to that point? Because the number one struggle for any company is to want to sell more products and goods, and they want to make more money. It's pretty
Absolutely.
simple. How do they do that? Help us.
Well, you kind of nailed it with what you just said. What I do is the SEO for the website, the back end for the website, work with Google and that sort of thing. But the client's job is everything you just said. Yeah. It's going out there and getting interviews, being in magazines, getting backlinks from other companies' websites to your website, because everything you do that has a connection is going to show up. And all of that is SEO. It's, a lot of times people think, well, it's just my website, but it is the entire presence of, and it, in my case, my name is important, but I also, when someone types in BizBolster, I want lots of things to come up. And if they type what they want, a website, I want to come up. But it's, backlinks are huge, 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 huge.
Explain a backlink for someone so that they understand what a backlink is. Someone listening might be saying, I don't understand what she's talking about. What's a backlink?
So a great example. So you just mentioned LinkedIn. We know that LinkedIn has incredible SEO, incredible algorithms. So when you put your profile in LinkedIn, hopefully you're putting your website address on your LinkedIn profile. That is a backlink to your website. And anywhere your website shows up on another platform, company, business, anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, articles, memberships, chamber memberships, Leap membership, anywhere you're at is a backlink. And that is Google's looking at that, and that is helping to establish your credibility with Google. And that's something that people don't always understand either, is they they think it's all just, code and preference or whatever. And by the way, you can't buy SEO. You can't pay Google to put you at the top. This is all the work you have.
You can buy an ad. That's all you can do is buy an ad, and that will put you at the top. Yep. Buy an ad. Mm-hmm.
But Google appreciates credibility and actually looks at the algorithms are looking at credibility. So the more mention of you and the more references to you, especially by reputable sites, then that is building your credibility. And the more credibility you have, the more Google is likely to put you first. And it's not like a decision Google's making. It's all in the algorithms, but everything we do to improve our presence is building on that. Mm-hmm. And so what you just said, being seen is so important. And I can build backlinks for local companies. I go out and get citations from directories and that sort of thing. But true high quality, really key backlinks, the client has to do. You have to go out and partner with people, mm-hmm. have strategic alliances. Mm-hmm. I have a partner page on my website. Everybody I work with goes on there because I want to create backlinks for my partners. I want to help my clients and my partners. And everybody should do that. We as a community should be doing that for each other because it is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Collaboration over competition. We talk about that all the time as well. So, search engine optimization is really about optimizing the search for you to show up when people are searching. For me, my name is what people search for, right? When I owned the company Lead Up for Women, they searched for Lead Up for Women. So when you search my name, Lead Up for Women shows up now, right? Because even though the company is not operating anymore, it will still show up. My old podcast interviews from Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up will still show up. They get pulled up. So a podcast is a really good one. And, there's other people's websites. I say this all the time. I love it when people solicit to me and say, hey, can I put a blog? Can I submit a blog for your website? If it has anything to do with business building, which is what we stand for, collaboration, visibility for women's brands, anything like that, I always say yes. And then I load it up on my website because it becomes activity that is useful for my members and people that follow me. But then I also am helping this person because it's considered a backlink. So, so many companies out there will allow you to put a blog on their website. And I find that some of the companies I work with, they do heavy marketing. And because they do such heavy marketing, my name is the one that, goes to the top of the list. So, again, Lori is talking about you need to have a website that, let's go to websites. Let's talk a little. We talked a lot about search engine optimization. Let's talk about, is reputation management similar? What we've just been talking about, Lori, can you define that any differently?
So reputation management is the process of building more reviews. And it's an automated system or a partially automated system. We have a partially automated system to try to increase your reviews. And ultimately, reviews are going to help your SEO as well as just your credibility in general. It's going to tell Google you're credible, but it's also going to tell everybody else that's looking for you that you're credible. So reviews are very important.
Okay. I love that. I'm glad that you said that. And, I remember my husband, I talked to him once about, he wanted to get Google reviews. And I said, well, do you ask your clients after you've serviced them, do you send a follow-up email and say, if you enjoy, we know that you enjoyed working with us. We would love for you to leave us a review because that will share with everyone else why they should work with, his company's Phoenix Drone Pros. And because I send a link after I do a podcast that asks for someone to leave me a review. And I've done it for every podcast I've ever done. And we have so many reviews on Apple Podcast, because we keep asking for these reviews. If you don't ask, you don't get, right? So no one's just going to go out and review you. But if someone sends you an email and says, hey, did you enjoy working with us? Or were you satisfied? Please leave us a review. It'll take you 30 seconds. You'll click on it. you'll leave that person a review. So remember, you're buying products and services based off of reviews. So be so kind to leave someone a review and ask for reviews. That's reputation management. So let's get back to the building of. Yeah,
I would add one thing on that. People will leave reviews if you've done exceptionally well or exceptionally poor.
That's
so
right.
just keep that in mind. Part of our reputation management system is to help manage the poor part, to help address the issue before it gets to the review stage. But yeah, do keep that. I mean, like, I'm sure people out there, I'll leave reviews when I'm really unhappy. So
you don't have to ask for that one. They'll just go leave the review. You never have to ask for that one. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for sure, reputation management is so important. And any of you that have had a bad review that popped on your website and you have no idea why, you know what I'm talking about, because it does tarnish the reputation that you have. Okay, let's jump to websites, because you work with small businesses, local, counties and businesses in the Florida area, as well as nonprofits. And you not only do improvements maybe on a current website that they have, but you rebuild websites, create new ones for them, or their very first one. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So everything you just said, I do everything from startups all the way to custom large websites. And really you had mentioned, I don't develop on WordPress. And the reason I don't develop on WordPress, there's a couple of reasons. One, because I do find that it's one of the more difficult platforms for people that don't know technology. I come across people that have worked with WordPress for, that's all they've ever done. And they're like, well, I know it. Well, yeah, because that's all you've ever done. And you must have a little bit of joy in technology to have ever learned it in the first place. So I don't do it for that reason. And the other reason is it requires regular updates and plugins and things that have to work together well. So if people aren't going to do that themselves or pay someone to do it, they're risking their website stability, security, and so many other things. So I build on a platform actually called Duda, and it is kind of a Wix type, not exactly like Wix, but it is, I host the website. It does not require regular maintenance, and it is pretty easy for my clients to use. I have clients that knew nothing about technology. I have one client that adds her own podcast feed. I've just taught her the process. I give my clients recordings on how to do Duda specific to what their needs are, and I walk them through, give them support, because I recognize that small businesses can't always afford to pay someone to do every single little thing that's done. And when I first started this, I had a client tell me they were paying someone $250 an hour to update Squarespace. And I just died. I'm like, I can't even do that. I can't do that. Number one, if it's Squarespace, you should be able to update it yourself. But if not, I'm not going to charge that kind of, ridiculous amount. But I do have, and with nonprofits, they're volunteers and there's so much turnover. You need to have a system that people can easily learn and update, because if you've got something that nobody knows how to do in a nonprofit that doesn't have any money to pay for help, then you're stuck. Yeah. So that's kind of why I do it the way I do. I love supporting my clients. Don't get me wrong. My clients that I update monthly, I mean, I love them. They're, they keep me going, but I recognize that not everybody can do that
or needs, right? Like some people want to be able to update. They enjoy being able to do that, and they would prefer just to do it rather than wait to get with someone to say, hey, could you update something? And some people don't need updates that often. Maybe they're in a business of products and services where they're adding a product once a month or once every other month. And so there isn't a lot to change on their website, where someone like me, with the amount of events that I have, it's a consistent updating and changing. And so, I have someone trained that's able to do that on a regular basis. So, again, What I love about what Bolster Web Solutions offers is you can do anything simple from a template and a lead gen. If you're a brand new coach, let's say you work with a lot of coaches. So if you're a coach out there and you're working, mainly your services are what you're providing. And you need just a quick website to be able to get up that is usable, that has a lead gen to it, where you're collecting people's information to build your list. And that way you're building your community surrounding that. She's got such an affordable way for you to do that for someone who's just starting out. And then you could go all the way, like I said, to somewhere in the middle of what you might need to, a completely custom one, if that's what you had built from the beginning. But Lori may say, hey, you had a custom one built in the beginning, but somewhere in my mid range is about where you fall based on what this custom one was that you had built. So we don't need to build you a custom one. And that is something that, it's still branded for you, but that is something that Lori has the expertise to be able to share with you on what you need. If you do not have a website, you need a website, hands down. It is the hub of your business. And with your website, you need to have your reputation management and your SEO active. And knowing what those are, working on those in conjunction with not only what your website's able to do and the power of your website, but also the power of what you as the client to Lori, you as the business owner are able to do. And she can guide you on the things that you need to be doing to increase that traffic to your website. I don't want any other Colleen to come up when they type in my name, right? If someone's looking for me, I don't want another person to come up. And I still don't know who owns ColleenBiggs.com. So whoever she is, I don't have access to it. That's why I'm ColleenBiggs.net. Right. But I can't find her. She's nowhere on Google. So I'm not sure who you are, but you're not using your website. So I'll take that from you. Thank you very much.
Could I have that, please?
Yeah. So
let me mention too, that a lot of website developers don't know anything about SEO. So it's a really good idea if you are working with someone and you're just starting to find out, feel free to set up a call with me if you've got questions about it. Yeah. But, as I've brought on more and more SEO, and I didn't know much about it a few years ago, and there's a lot of mistakes that are made in building the website that affect your SEO. So, kind of keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. Well, you guys need to explore some time with Lori for sure. Find out, she does a website review. She does an SEO review. There's a lot of things that you can do and get a full report from her to understand, is my website functioning the way it should be? Is my SEO good, bad, average? What's happening? You're not a website expert. And if you are, great. But I'm talking to those that aren't right now. I'm talking to those service and products providers that are out there doing what they need to be doing and off, servicing this to someone like Lori's company and her entire team that does this for a living. And I highly recommend that you do that. Lori, I know you do a lot of educating through webinars that you do, and you house those events through Meetup. So we don't have that link right now, but I'm going to have you drop it down below. So I'll have it in the podcast notes for anyone that's listening to this, as well as we'll put it on Facebook so that they can at least join your Meetup group. And then when you notify them of events coming up, because you have a lot of videos that you do and training that you do for people to really understand how they can really just kind of realize, do they need help in SEO? Is their website struggling? And then they can for themselves realize that. But what is the best way for someone to reach out to you and follow you and connect with you and, book some time with you?
So the best way is just go to my website, bizbolster.com. I have a freebie there. Take advantage, do the download. There's a button, let's chat, breakthrough session buttons all over the place. Just set up a call with me. It's a 15 to 30 minute call to just it's not a sales call. It's an information call. It's to talk to you about what you need and if we can help you, or not. And also, and I'm going to give you this link as well. I do have the ability for you to get a free SEO review. And that would
right.
be me doing a full analysis of that back end of your website, of everything I was just talking about. Is there anything that was built wrong or that we can correct
Mhm.
that will establish your website better with Google and communicate better with Google? And we can do that review. And we even have a one-time optimization if you decide that, wow, I've got a lot of errors and I don't want to deal with this, or I don't have
Yeah.
anyone to do it for me.
Right. That's great, Lori. Thank you so much. And we'll have that available for you if you're listening to this podcast. So the link will be right there at your fingertips. I highly recommend you take advantage of that and connect with her to do this free SEO review, because anything that I'm telling you, this is stuff that can be working for you on the background that has a lot of lift. Right. It has a lot of powerful lift of generating and driving people to your website that you don't have to throw money at. Many people think I have to do Google ads. I have to do Facebook ads. I have to do ads everywhere to drive people to your website. And that's not true. You don't need to. I did Google ads at one point. I didn't get a lot going from it. I've done Facebook ads, and it's always been me and where I've shown up and what I've done and who I've collaborated with that has been the power of my visibility in Google. So it's really on you to do that. And Lori, I just want to thank you so much for being with us today. I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom with everyone today. And I want to highly recommend that everyone connects with her and her team. She's got a powerful team, especially if you're in Florida. She's local, so she'll reach out. You guys can connect locally and go see each other. And I just want to remind all of you, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. So why not show up on every page on Google? why not get yourself out there and live your life at the fullest, so that everywhere people turn, they see you, they see your brand. I think of movie stars or music stars or, famous authors. We see them everywhere. Do that for yourself. Get yourself known, get yourself out there, and utilize services like Lori's to be able to attract the right people to you that you want to work with. Because the more that you're surrounding yourself in a community and you have a list and people that are interested in you, the easier it's going to be for you to sell your products and services. So, Lori, thank you so much for being with us today. It was a great conversation, and I highly recommend you guys reach out to her. She's phenomenal, works with so many clients of mine. So I highly recommend that. All right, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. And until next time, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now. See ya.